Hi, in the last session, we learned that VSDL allows you to create your own custom data types for your specific needs in your VSDL designs. Now, in this session, we will go one step further and we will talk about the array data types and we will combine them with the predefined and user-defined data types. So let's start. So we will understand it with some examples. First, this example demonstrates that how to create a custom data types for state machines in VSDL. Here the data type is SM type that is defined to represent the three states of the state machines, that is idle, do work and done. These states are listed in the type declaration. The SM state signal is then declared using the SM data type. This signal will hold the current state of the state machine. Initially, the SM state is assigned with the initial value, which is ideal. This indicates that the state machine is in the ideal state at the moment. Now later, the SM state is assigned to the other values like do work, which is indicating a transition to the do work state from the ideal state. The SM state signal can only take these three possible values, which represents the three different states of the state machines. Internally, this signal will be implemented as a 2-bit value in the FPGA as we discussed in the last slide. However, as a designer, you do not need to worry about this implementation details. All you need to focus on these three states, that is idle, do work and done, which define the behavior of your state machine. Everything else will be taken care by VSDL and the tools. Now let's talk about the arrays in VSDL, which is a powerful concept in VSDL. They essentially functions as a collection of the signals or grouping of the signals which are having the same data types. This allows you to group the numerous signals under a single name. A prime example of an array data type is a built-in std underscore logic underscore vector data type, which we have talked about in the previous sessions. This data type represents the collection of logical values, commonly used for the situations like 8-bit data buses. So basically, an 8-bit std underscore logic vector is a group of 8 std underscore logic signals, which are treated as a single body. Well, this is predefined, right? But VSDL does not limit it to this predefined data types. VSDL is just more capable than this because you can also create your own custom array-based data types by using the array keyword. So the high level concept which you should know is that when you are defining a custom array-based data type, you are needing two key elements. Number one is element data type. This defines that what type of data those elements can carry. For example, it can be integer, or it can be boolean, or even it can be user-defined data types, such as SM type, which you have just described in this session. Next important thing is the range index. This range index tells the valid range of elements, like how many elements your data type or array-based data types can carry. You can also access the individual element of this array as well, whenever it is needed. So once you have a signal that is declared as an array data type, you can access and modify the values of individual elements using their indexes within the square brackets. For example, if your array name is myArray, then you can access the second element which is indexed at position 1 by using myArray bracket 1. Now let's take the previous example and imagine that you are declaring a signal that is named as int array based on your custom array based data type. So we will write signal int array colon array 0 to 3 of integer semicolon. And this statement will create a signal by name as int array, which is capable of storing 4 integer values. You can then assign the values to the specific elements like this. Int array bracket 0 gets the value of 13 semicolon. And this will assign the value 13 to the index 0 of int array. Same way, you can assign the integer value to the index 1 and index 2 and index 3 as well. Like for index 1, write int array bracket 1 gets the value of 14 semicolon. Similarly, for index 2, int array bracket 2 gets the value of 15 semicolon. Same for index 3, write int array bracket 3 gets the value of 16 semicolon. So when you will execute these statements, Your index 0 of int array will have the value of 13. Similarly, index 1 of int array will have the value of 14. Same way, index 2 of the int array will get the value of 15, and index 3 of int array will have the value of 16. The image you see in the screen shows that the data is stored within an array. The four boxes represents the four elements of your array. Each box is capable of holding an integer value. The number besides each box like 0, 1, 2 and 3 are like the indexes of these elements. These indexes acts like a unique address for each element within your array. Looking at the assigned values, you can see that the element at index 0 has the value of 13, the element at index 1 has the value of 14, and so on. This demonstrates that how the array provides a structured way to store and retrieve the data. You can access any element in the array by simply specifying its index. VSDL also offers the unconstrained array, which provides the flexibility for the situation where you are not sure about the length of your array size. Unlike the fixed size array, unconstrained arrays don't have the predefined set during the data type declaration. So in such cases, the actual size is determined when you are declaring the signal based on this data type. To declare an unconstrained array data type in VSDL, you specify an array with an unspecified range. This allows you to create an array of different sizes depending on your needs. For example, you can declare a new array data type called ABC as an unconstrained array of integers. So inside the brackets, you need to use greater than and less than sign to indicate that the array index is an integer data type with an undefined range. Means this is unconstrained data type. Once you have declared the unconstrained array data type, you can simply use it to create your signals without worrying of declaring the maximum index for your project. So the question is that how the system will know that how many indexes are needed for your project. So the answer is during the signal declaration. When you are creating a signals using the ABC array data type, which is unconstrained array data type, then you must specify the number of elements in that array signal. So each signal will have its own length of this data type. Hence, when you are declaring all of your signals in your VSDL code, then the system will take the highest index as the constrained index of your array data type. Simple. And this will allows you to create the signals with the different sizes based on your requirements for your designs. Let's quickly see that how it works in practice. So we have created an unconstrained array data type named as ABC that can hold the integer values. Now imagine that you have two signals, sig1 and sig2, and both the signals uses the ABC array data type. But sig1 is declared to have the 8 elements, means index from 0 to 7, while sig2 having the 16 elements, indexed from 1 to 16, or simply say 15 down to 0. So in this case, your array data type will have 16 indexes, which is the maximum covering of the indexes in this example. This flexibility allows us to create the arrays of different sizes as they are needed for our designs. Unconstrained arrays are particularly useful when you are needing to work with the arrays of varying length. In the next session, we will discuss on the more insights of different data types which are being used in VSDL. So stay tuned for the updates. If you did not subscribe till now, then please do subscribe to learn and grow community for regular updates. If this video is informative, then please like this video, comment on video, and don't forget to share. Thank you for watching.